I attended the wreckage of that aircraft. So while I was there, I made a small purchase. I got a couple of liters of exactly the same fuel from exactly the same gas station that the pilot bought the fuel from. So let's do a sample and find out what it looks like as far as ethanol, color, whatever we can determine with it. So let's pour out a sample. One thing that I noticed, this can, of course, was completely empty. It had no water in it. It was just an empty, clean fuel container. It has shrunken in after the fuel level is about here. There's only a couple of liters in here. However, this shrunk in overnight when it was cooler down to, I don't think it was about 18, 16 last night, I think. And today it's like, in Fahrenheit, it's about 80 degrees in the shop today, and this hasn't swelled up at all. So I'm not really impressed with that. That change in temperature, it should have at least come back to where it was, I would expect. So we'll open it and see what happens. And I wasn't expecting to hear any type of a pressure release. I can smell the gas, so at least it's vaporizing. So, so this one is the sample from pump. I've marked it from pump. So when you're sampling fuel, you don't need great big huge quantities like this, but it's nice to put it in a jar and then you can have a good look at it and then you can put it back in the container after. Okay, so here's our from the pump sample. Recap this. And I have the tester pre-filled with water already. So again, same procedure as before. I'm going to fill it to the neck. Because once you get a tester, you make sure you need to make sure you do this the same way every time. A little spillage here. Okay. So we'll cap that up again. All right, and we'll just give this a little bit of a dry off. And where are we with the focus here? Let's get this more sorted out here. Back there. And there is our from the pump sample. And so I'm going to agitate this now. I'm like about, I don't know, around 10 seconds on this I do it for. I try and do it the same every single time. Okay, so let's position it down here now and let it set. And let's find out what it actually looks like as far as clarity. And let me move this again a little bit. Okay. So I'm at the 10% line for ethanol. This sample is clearer in the top, but it has an awful lot of water in the bottom. So this looks like it's not as bad as the fuel that from the big container, the leftover container that went in the airplane. The other one went in the airplane. So yeah, it's not so cloudy in the top. I think there's still a fair amount of water in here, not near as much as the other one. So this is the sample that I bought from the pump. So I'm going to compare all of these three samples in exactly the same way and the same length of time. So I have my water already in. So this is the fuel from the container. So let's get our sample in here. We're going to fill to the neck of there we go. Cap it up. And I'm going to use the timer, and I'm going to shake it for exactly 10 seconds. And there we are, there's 10 seconds. Stop that, send it back, cap this up, put the sample on top, zoom in, and I started the timer, has started again. We'll get a little closer here and see what kind of a result we get. And I'll give it about 4 or 5 minutes. It looks very, very cloudy in the top section here, and I see quite a bit of moisture in the bottom yet. Let's see how it settles out. And it is as it was before, it's 10%. Well, 5 minutes later, we see the clarity of the fuel in the top. It's actually a little bit below 10% now. It's changed a bit as it's at here. So let's do the sample that I just got from the pump and see what it ends up like. So now we're going to do the sample that was right from the pump. Did you hear that? It made the little whoof noise when I cracked the cap loose. So I'm impressed with that. I would say right away that's a good sign. So let me get this filled up to the bottom of the neck here. Oh, making a little bit of a mess here. Good thing this bench has a drain in it. Okay, cap that up. Clean the container off. All right, cap this one. Okay, now I'm going to exactly the same. I'm going to agitate this one for 10 seconds. I'm using the timer off on the side here. Ten seconds. Stop. Okay. Put that on there. Start the timer. And again, this one I'm going to leave it set for 5 minutes exactly. Right away, the clarity in the top is much better, isn't it, in here? And all of the bubbly stuff that was in the bottom here, it's 25 seconds and it's already starting to settle out, and the sample is getting much clearer at the bottom. See, it's clearer at the bottom. It's got a little haze there. So let's leave this for 5 minutes, and and I'll get some still shots and as well, and we'll be able to see the real difference in these samples. So next will be a sample of E10. It's known good sample of E10, and you notice the top of the jar is bulged out. So this is definitely going to make a sound when I open it. Don't know if it picked it up, but it definitely did. So let's get this sample in here. Fill up to the neck, the usual spot. Whoops, too much. Have to start again. Okay, here we're back. This is again with the E10 because I overfilled the sample container here, the tester, and I don't want to mess up my results. I should be pouring out of something with a little smaller mouth on it, but anyway. There we go. I like that. That'll work. Cap it up. Clean up the little bit of spill I made there. Cap that up again. Get rid of our waste jar. And same as before, I'm going to agitate it for exactly 10 seconds. So all three of these tests are exactly the same. Just doing this the same all the time is important. Okay, 10 seconds is expired. Let's put this up here where we can get a good look at it. Start the timer, and this sample is going to sit for 5 minutes. And oh, there we go. Move this over here. So 1 minute has passed now, and look at the result already. It's 10%, yes, but just look at the clarity in this fuel. Now in the other two samples, right at the bottom, you could see the pointer reasonably well, and around here it got pretty cloudy and worse there. And that's pretty amazing, isn't it? The difference in that, and that was 1 minute. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds right now. Anyway, I'm going to leave this for the full 5 minutes so that all the tests are exactly the same, and we'll see the result that we get after the 5 minutes. So let's check with the light, the clarity of this. And we'll put the pointer behind it. So this, well, it's just labeled E10, but it's a fresh sample from today. And this is the result that we get with fresh, what I consider fresh, good fuel. This is the kind of fuel that I want to put in my aircraft. This fuel came from the remaining container that was not installed in the aircraft. The container that went with it, that was purchased at the same time, was the one that was installed into the aircraft fuel tanks prior to the crash. This was the fuel that I had purchased from exactly the same fuel station at the same gas pump about 2 weeks after the crash. This E10 sample I had purchased at a local gas station. It's an extremely busy, high volume gas station. It's probably the freshest gas that I could have bought. So it would appear to me that if we tested the ethanol content in every can of fuel that we buy, that would give us a great opportunity to actually visually have an excellent look at the fuel. First off, how much ethanol does it have in it? Okay, it has 10%. That's fine. But does it have excessive amounts of water in it, just like in the sample from the container picture? Or is it nice and clear and clean looking like in the E10 control sample? I hope you enjoyed the video today. I really wanted to get some photos, especially photos of some fuel samples that are good and that are not good, so that you know. I mean, it's great to have a fuel tester, but you need to know what to expect to see in your fuel tester. Now, using the water funnel and another fuel can, I mean, that's good practice. Absolutely. Why not? But it seems to me that using an ethanol tester really fits the bill for me. I think it's the way that I have been doing it that way and continue to do it. So I will go. I look in my fuel cans containers when I leave to put fuel in them, and I make sure that they're bone dry. There's no dust, no water, nothing left in them, and they're clean and empty is what I want. I go to a super high volume gas station. I buy 87 because I can put it in my 582, so 87 E10, and it's fine. And then I come back to the airport, and the first thing I do is I take a sample from each container, and I test each container individually, even though I bought it at the same time. I just do it that way now. And I get a fuel sample, and that allows me to see, is it nice and crisp and clear and clean? Is it cloudy? Is it got any potential water issues with it. I mean, it seems to me that, again, because I've been working at this for a while, I know what I'm looking for, and this is what I'm trying to get across, hopefully to you, is what you should look for, and use and just use that, and that's the end of that. So that's the way I do it. I also log it when I put the fuel, when I purchase the fuel, how much ethanol is in it. The last little while, the fuel I've been buying only has 5% ethanol in it. So there you go. You don't really, it says up to 10%, but maybe not. Anyway, I log it the day that I purchased it, when it went in the airplane. If it's been in the airplane for more than 30 days, of course, I drain it out and I burn it in my car. It's unleaded fuel. It works fine in my car. It's not an issue at all. And then just replace it next time with fresh fuel. Fresh fuel has always been important, but it's critical now to have fresh fuel because we've got this fuel with ethanol in it that will absorb water, will absorb moisture. So we didn't, when we were using neat fuels, 91 gas with no ethanol in it, we didn't have to worry about that. But it's certainly part of our life now of using automobile fuels for our aircraft. So anyway, thanks for the time you spent with me today. As always, like, share, subscribe. Safe flying out there. Bye now.